Right now, somewhere in East Africa, it is 42 degrees Celsius in the shade. And there is no shade. The sun is direct. The ground reflects it back. The air above the savanna distorts in the heat like the surface of a road on a summer highway. Every major predator on the continent is lying down. Lions, leopards, wild dogs, all of them waiting for the temperature to drop. Your ancestors were out there, moving, hunting, in the worst part of the day. You are reading this from somewhere with air conditioning, or a fan, or at least a window you can open. Take all of that away. Take the water bottle too. For 290,000 years, the African summer could hit 45 degrees Celsius, and the only cooling system your ancestors had was their own skin. So how did they survive it? And why does the answer change how you think about your own body? Let's be honest about what they were actually facing. Because summer makes it sound manageable. It was not manageable. The African savannas where early Homo sapiens evolved regularly hit 40 to 45 degrees Celsius in summer months. At 40 degrees, an unprotected human begins experiencing heat stress within 30 to 60 minutes of direct sun exposure. Core body temperature above 40 degrees triggers heat stroke, organ failure, death within hours, and humans had almost nothing going for them. No fur, no fat layer for insulation, no natural shade adaptation. Our closest primate relatives, chimpanzees, gorillas, live in forests. The open savanna hits exposed skin with direct solar radiation from above and reflected heat from the ground below. Ground surface temperatures in direct sun can exceed 70 degrees Celsius. That is hot enough to burn. Water was the other problem. In a heat that could dehydrate you to incapacity within hours, there was no running tap, no permanent supply. Rivers dried seasonally. Water holes were contested crocodiles, hippos, large predators. The thing that would save your life was the same thing that could kill you. The earliest confirmed anatomically modern humans we have found were living in Jebel Irhoud in Morocco, roughly 300,000 years ago, discovered and dated by Jean-Jacques Heublein at the Max Planck Institute in 2017. Real people, a real place. In a North African environment already subject to extreme seasonal heat. On paper, a naked ape with no fur, no claws, no speed, competing for water with crocodiles in 45-degree heat, should not have made it through summer. But here is what everyone gets wrong about this. We were not fighting the heat, we were built for it. And the things that look like vulnerabilities, the bare skin, the sweating, the hairlessness, turned out to be the most sophisticated biological weapons any large animal has ever had. Start with what your body is doing right now. You have approximately 2 to 4 million eccrine sweat glands distributed across your skin. When you get hot, they activate. In extreme heat, they can produce up to 2 liters of sweat per hour. That sweat evaporates off bare skin and directly cools your bloodstream. No other large land mammal does this. Lions cool by panting, which requires stopping. Cheetahs cool by panting, which requires stopping. African wild dogs, leopards, hyenas, all of them cool by panting, which requires stopping. Nina Jablonski at Penn State University has spent decades studying human skin adaptation. Her research makes one thing clear. Human hairlessness is not a design flaw, it is an engineering solution. Fur traps moisture, slows evaporation, and causes the animal to overheat faster. Bare skin with sweat glands is the most efficient thermal regulation system of any large land animal on Earth. Think about what that means in practice. A lion can sprint at 80 kilometers per hour. After 400 meters, it stops. It overheats. It lies down and waits 20 to 30 minutes before it can hunt again. The human it was chasing is still moving. Temperature regulated, not stopping. Every predator on that savanna was one sprint away from heat stroke. Humans never were. Here is something that sounds impossible. In the Kalahari, one of the most arid environments on Earth, the sand people can locate water in terrain that looks completely dry. They read vegetation, a specific species of tree whose roots reach deep water tables, soil color and texture that suggests subsurface moisture, dry riverbeds that hold water a meter below the surface, animal behavior patterns, what moves toward water at dawn, and from which direction. Polly Wiesner, who spent decades studying the Zhu-Huanzi people of the Kalahari, documented that this knowledge was not individual. It was generational, built from thousands of years of accumulated observation, transmitted through stories told around fires at night, taught by grandmothers to grandchildren on long walks across terrain that looked dead. The desert was not empty. It was full of water, if you knew how to read it. And reading it took a lifetime to learn, which is why it could not be written down and could not be lost because it lived in the people themselves. Let's talk about what persistence hunting actually is. You don't chase an animal at full speed. You track it at a steady jog, just fast enough to keep it moving. You follow it for 3, 4, 6 hours. The animal runs, it stops, It overheats, it runs again, it can't sweat like you can, it can't cool down while it's moving. Eventually, its core temperature rises past the point of no return. It collapses from heat stroke, and you walk up to it. Humans are the only species on Earth that hunts this way. Louis Liebenberg, an anthropologist who spent years with the exosan of the Kalahari, didn't just document persistence hunting, he participated in it. In the 1980s, he ran alongside exo hunters across open scrubland in approximately 40-degree heat, tracking a kudu for nearly 5 hours. The kudu weighed 4 times what any of the hunters weighed. It had been running since morning. By midday, it couldn't stand. The hunters were tired, but functional. The midday heat that killed the animal was the same heat that gave the hunters their advantage. They were not surviving the worst part of the day. They were hunting in it, on purpose. This is the part that changes how you see the rest. The Hadza of Tanzania, one of the last populations living a life that closely resembles ancient hunter-gatherer existence, do not work through the middle of the day. Frank Marlowe, who spent decades studying the Hadza, documented the daily pattern precisely. Morning, hunting and gathering. Midday, rest. Late afternoon, activity resumes. Evening, communal meal. Social time, fire. The middle of the day is for the body. Not because they are lazy, because they understand the heat in a way we have spent centuries unlearning. The ancient human day was not structured around the clock. It was structured around the sun. Maximum effort in the cool margins early morning and late afternoon. Structured rest at the thermal peak. This is not a concession to the heat. This is mastery of it. The same hunters who ran a kudu to death at 10 in the morning were sleeping in the shade at noon. And hunting again by 3, day after day, season after season, for 290,000 years. Here is what nobody tells you. The human body, your body did not evolve these adaptations in order to survive the heat. It evolved them in order to run in it. In 2004, Daniel Lieberman at Harvard and Dennis Bramble at the University of Utah published a paper in Nature that changed how biologists understand the human body. They documented something remarkable. The entire suite of anatomical features that separate modern Homo sapiens from earlier hominids, the high arched foot, the enlarged gluteus maximus, the nuchal ligament that stabilizes the head during movement, the short toes, the narrow waist, the shoulder mechanics, and the sweat glands. All of it. Every feature that makes a human body look the way it does is an adaptation for long-distance running in hot, open terrain. Not for walking, not for climbing, not for fighting. For running. For hours. In heat. The human body is not a compromised primate that learned to cope with the African summer. The human body is a machine that was specifically engineered to exploit it. We didn't adapt to survive the heat. We evolved as running machines designed to weaponize it. The summer wasn't our enemy, it was our habitat. You stepped outside today. Or you will tomorrow. And the heat will hit you and your first instinct will be to go back inside. That instinct is not weakness, but it is also not the whole truth of what your body is. The body that is uncomfortable right now is the same body that ran animals to death across open grassland in 42-degree heat. The same body that could locate water in an apparently dry desert by reading the color of soil. The same body that restructured its entire day around the rhythm of the sun and still managed to outcompete every predator on the continent. The air conditioning is not evidence that we conquered the heat. It is evidence that we became so comfortable we stopped using the thing we were built for. We think of summer heat as something to escape. For 290,000 years, it was the thing that separated us from everything trying to kill us. Every lion lying in the shade, every leopard waiting for the temperature to drop, every predator on the planet hiding from the worst part of the day, and us out there, moving. Ancient humans didn't just survive the heat, they turned it into a weapon, because the one thing every predator on Earth feared was the animal that didn't overheat. And that animal was us.